What's up? It's Daniel Seavey. Just did an interview on the Zach Sang Show, and we talked about life and songs and lots of fun stuff. So you should check it out.
Hello, beautiful humans. Today's conversation with Daniel Seavey is being delivered to you by my favorite GoPuff. If you know me, you know that wherever I go, GoPuff bags, they follow me. Everything in my life is delivered to me from GoPuff. From waters to booze to electronics to home goods. I get all my candles from there. GoPuff is the best, beyond the best, convenience store. Thousands of items available right in the palm of your hand. And they come to your home or to your studio, or they'll meet you literally anywhere in just a matter of minutes with whatever you want. Nobody gets to you like GoPuff. Nobody does it like GoPuff. So if you want to try them out, you can save $10 off your first 2 orders. Just use my code ZAC10 when you're checking out. Or click that link below to get it seamlessly and easy. But ZAC10, use it when you're checking out. Save $10. $10 on your first 2 orders when using GoPuff. This pen delivered by GoPuff. This drink delivered by GoPuff. This candle delivered by GoPuff. So if you want to get stuff delivered to you by GoPuff, do it. It may change the way you live, like it has done for me. Thousands of items available pretty much instantly, delivered right to you, courtesy of GoPuff. ZAC10, use it when you're checking out, and you'll save $10 off your first 2 orders. Now, Daniel Seavey, let's get into it. Hello, beautiful human.
Sorry. Let's try that again.
This is crazy. This is the first time you've actually ever been on the show alone.
Mm-hmm. I know, it's weird. So empty.
We've spent time alone.
Now it's just me, Zach, and another Dan. That's
crazy. Like, I've gotten
Dan
to know
the first, actually.
He's the first Dan.
Yeah, sorry, I'll respect it.
Dan
I didn't
Jr.
respect it in our first interview. I was like, another Dan, but respectfully, you were the first Dan.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, come to terms with it.
Well, he's older.
Yeah.
Dan is old. He's wise.
Older. Well, wiser? I don't know.
That's true.
We'll see. I'm still mad, actually.
Wait, so, yeah, honestly, the real question there is, like, is wisdom determined based on years alive or experiences within the years you're here?
For sure, yeah.
Well, you've definitely had more experiences than I have.
Oh, well, thanks. Given the last 2 years, I would say I'm like 60 years old right now if you were to put it on paper. It's been a crazy 2 years.
That's to say the least.
Oh, yeah.
And I say that as somebody who's known you for many, many moons. But
many moons.
But also, like, I'm, like, weirdly involved in some of it. But
true.
But also, like, I'm watching a human being, like, and I don't even think it's necessarily by choice, grow and come to terms with themselves, yes, as a person, but also as an artist.
Oh, man.
But then, like, I also think that, like,
I'm already gonna...
But dude,
just got in here, man.
I felt really bad. I'm going to start right out the gate. I felt really bad when your house had somebody showed up there.
That was a little interesting. Luckily, I was in Miami, but I had this front door cam, and I just, like, happened to see the notification, and I was like, oh, who? They were turned at first, so I didn't see who it was. And then when they turned around, I recognized them from a show. Like, they came to a lot of meet and greets, and I was like, what are you doing at my house? Get out. Yeah, it was a little crazy.
I knew you were gone, but I get very sad over those things because things that you think are yours and are personal and are safe are betrayed and corrupted.
Yeah, it was a little gnarly. Like, it's
hard to go back.
I think I wrapped my head around the idea pretty young that there's a price you pay for this life, and it is, your privacy is out the window, no pun intended, because that's what she climbed through. But that's the price that's the price you pay. And so I don't know, like, yes, I would prefer that it doesn't happen, but I also, like, I don't know, it didn't shock me necessarily in a sense. I was like, yeah, that's kind of, and we saw some crazy stuff on the road, so maybe it kind of warmed me up to that, like fans sneaking into rooms and, you know, you get in your room and you're like, what are you doing in here? Like, that stuff did happen, so I don't know. But kind of used to it. The home thing, though, was weird.
That's the thing. Like,
it's like Hannah Montana. Like, you're Hannah Montana when you're out on the road. Like, they got me when I was Miley, you know? I was like, whoa, what are you doing? Like, yeah, kind of crazy.
You can come to terms with it and accept it because it comes with the territory of, like, what it means to be in the public eye.
Yeah.
But it could also still be weird as a human being that your home that is yours has been infiltrated and really, like, That is gross.
Yeah, no, it's pretty gnarly. It's pretty gnarly.
Yeah.
I think if you sit on it too long, it actually starts to mess with you. And that's this whole business. You think about this business too much at all, and it starts to rack your brain. The last 2 years taught me that. Like, there's stuff I take serious now, and I feel like the last 2 years taught me things matter, words matter. But there's things I choose to make matter less for my sake, to just like not go insane, because this life is crazy. It's a crazy world out here in the music business,
and it's ongoing.
Yeah.
So if you get hung up too deeply on one thing, you're not going to have the ability to keep moving forward.
1000%.
So,
and you gotta stay. I love that you said that. You gotta stay moving forward. You gotta stay moving forward and doing what you love, and that's exactly what I've been trying to do. Just make music, love doing it. I'm going out on the road soon. Like I'm trying to have fun with
By
it
yourself?
again, you know?
hold on. We need.
Yeah. We'll get
Yes,
there.
I'm still coming
Sorry.
to terms with the fact that I'm talking to just you.
I know, me too.
And you've
dude.
sat in that spot on the couch before.
You do have my
Can I
favorite pillow though, still, so I can
Yeah,
use that for comfort.
You still never fully introduced him.
Oh, it's Daniel Seavey's here, everybody.
Oh, what's up, guys?
Sorry.
The other Dan. Thank you for having me.
Dan number 2.
I'm Dan the second.
No, that cat pillow is the most famous thing about us.
It's
and,
so cute.
And more famous than any one person who ever comes on our show, I
Totally.
think.
All the fans just want to see this cat.
Which I get. It's
And your cardigans, though, lately. I think your cardigans are second in line for the best part.
You know, you're very complimentary to me. You're very kind. And
Because you're awesome.
Well, so are you. I really appreciate that. And I said it before, I'll say it again. Any human being that comes through and is down to go to St. Jude with me in Memphis, Tennessee, is somebody I ride with for life.
You were at some wild shows. You went to some big cities, and then we'd be in the middle of nowhere, and
together.
you'd pop up in the green room. We'd be like, Zach, what are you doing here?
I remember-
in Wichita, Kansas. Like,
Literally,
what's going on?
Columbia, Missouri.
Yeah. Shout
Mississippi.
out Wichita, though. They're lit there. That was a fun place. I want to go back there.
Bro, like I remember listening to the music that you were making on your own.
Yeah.
In Why Don't We?
Yeah.
It was your first batch.
I played you. All that.
In
yeah.
Memphis, Tennessee.
And shout out Zach for taking the time to listen. And I would play him 30 songs back to back, and he would listen to every single one.
I'd be like, play it again.
No, yeah, and you would listen to the lyrics, and he was interviewing me outside of interviews, so you know he's meant for it. You know what I mean? He was genuinely curious about what I was writing about.
Were these
on
songs,
little demos?
Or were these songs you were writing for yourself or for the band?
For the band.
Yeah, for the band, and I kind of was just writing them, hoping they might end up at the band or somewhere, but I was just writing it like a hobby, really, you know.
But like it was also the first time you were getting trust. Like I remember that so vividly.
Yeah.
Of like trust that you were really entitled
That I
to
was
and
a
fighting for.
writer. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like
we were pretty gatekeeped on that growing up a little early on, you know.
So
it was good to finally get some recognition from someone so awesome. You know?
but there's such quality there, and
Thank
you really are such a musician.
Thank you. That was my first. I mean, when I was 3 years old, I was the nerd little whiz kid that could play the piano and hear a thing and know how to play it. And, you know, I was that kid, so it was weird being told at some point that I couldn't write or play an instrument well enough. And it racks your brain, but talk about this business racking your brain. That did it for a little bit. And then eventually people like you validated, like, wait, this is really good. And I was like, you know, I played demos for fans in hotels just because I was so desperate to like I just wanted to see what people thought, you know. I wanted to see if they liked it. And so I'm sneaking, we're in the hotel lobby and I'm like, put in these AirPods, you got to hear this, you know. And yeah, I mean, they might be a little biased, but they all loved it, so.
But so you really like the transition to becoming a solo artist. It's where you started, but where you hone your skills in your craft.
Totally.
Is doing Why Don't We?
Oh, yeah.
Regardless of the trials and tribulations you were thrown through.
Me and Jonah the other day were hanging out. We were sitting by a pool, and we were saying, why don't we feel like college for us? You know? It was 5-6 years of us figuring out how this business goes at sort of the age college is. So I see the whole thing as such a blessing. But it taught us so much about how this all goes.
What is the biggest thing you learn? I mean, in a couple different categories, so I'll start slow, but like, let's start in the studio. Like, what is your biggest takeaway creatively that you may keep with you that you acquired during the time of the group? You're making noises today.
Oh, thank you.
Just like a symphony of grunts.
We're gonna have the craziest beat to sample from this interview. Just like the craziest.
Please.
I would say the band, it taught me to have fun in the studio, because I think you can take it so serious and be like, I need to prove I know what I'm doing. And I tried to do that a lot. And then like Zach might come in and be like, on the mic, and you're like, why is he doing that? And why is this so funny and cool? I mean, have you heard like Poland by Lil Yachty?
No.
You hear that song? I took the walk. Like, it's the funniest, coolest song. And when you hear how he made it, he was joking when he made the song. But when I heard that the first time, I was like, this is the hardest thing I've ever heard. That's what I think Why Don't We taught me in the studio, was like, still make it fun. Like, I'm a nerd music guy. Like, I'm a music whiz. Like, I take it pretty serious, and I'm like rule oriented. The band would have so much fun in there that, you know, that I try to keep that energy now, where when I go in, I start with like the concept that I take really seriously and want it to sound like, and I usually have like a pretty stern vision of what I want. But then I try to come in the next day, like fully back up and be like, all right, now like if I'm jumping around right now enjoying this, is that happening or not? And how do I make that happen? That's, yeah. The band was so fun in the studio. The energy was just always so chaotic.
But it comes through in the record, but
yeah,
in the right ways.
Thank you.
So you want to keep fun.
Yeah.
What do you learn about the business that you carry with you as you build a new business?
Oh gosh, I'm still learning so much. I try to learn less at this point. I know too much about this business, man.
Yeah, it makes you more jaded, no?
I would say don't sign anything that you haven't had somebody look over. That would be like my big, if like you're new to this business, like take the time, even if it's a golden opportunity, if they're going to take it away before someone can look at it, it's not worth taking.
100%.
That is some advice I wish I was told. And I was told it by Harry Connick Jr., who was a good friend of mine. He said, don't sign anything without someone looking over it. But when that golden ticket's waved in front of you, and again, I count it as a blessing, so it's a weird, you know, juxtaposition, but you gotta be careful, because it can come with some, you know, there's always yin and yang, so just be careful. You gotta just watch your steps. That's what I feel like I've learned to watch my steps a lot more.
Does that change how you are as a person, in regards to who you let in?
It did, and I feel like it taught, like, again, there was yin and yang. It taught me good things I liked, and there are things where I didn't like how much I was looking over my back, and I had trust issues, and a lot of that I've been trying to work on. I think COVID, a lot of people were like realizing things about themselves where they're like, oh, I want to work on that. And there was stuff I definitely now feel like I'm sinking back into that I missed about myself, where I like being a loving, fun-filled, energy-filled person, and when you got to be all watching your back and business-oriented, you can't be that. So I'm trying to kind of like put a tie between the two, you know, put a wall between the two. I can be that and like flip the switch if I need to now, and I take that as like a good thing that I can do, but I don't want to be that guy all the time. Like that guy sitting in a courtroom is not someone I enjoy being, you know?
Terrifying.
I don't think anyone enjoys being that person, you know? And shout out attorneys. I don't know how they're people. I don't know how they exist. They are some crazy characters, yo. They yeah.
Wait,
there's some awesome dudes doing that job all the time.
So I understand what you're saying in terms of when you give so much energy to watching your back, you can't put a positive step forward.
Yeah.
Just because it's energy, it's focus shift.
Yeah.
It also fogs everything.
It messes with you like bodily, mentally. Like that was the first time I had a lot of that hit me, and it is like a battle, you know, figuring that out. And I'm still figuring it out. But I think at some point I reminded myself, like, that was always there. Even when we were the band, we had this guy that would make us feel all that stuff that life now started to make me feel like. But it was a choice where you could decide to let that ruin the rest of your day, or you could decide, no, I'm going to fight right now to stay positive. And it's cliche, but it really does work, making that choice for yourself. And it's tough when you're in this lull of down. It's tough to want to be like, I'm going to fight more on top of all the crap I already have to deal with, to not only deal with it, but also have a positive attitude. That's not easy. Like, it's not some flip of the switch where you're just like, I'm going to be happy. Like, no, you gotta work for it and fight for it, put yourself in uncomfortable situations, but you gotta do it. It's so worth it, you know?
What is happiness?
A choice? I don't know. I would say it's a choice. it's something you got to fight for, definitely. And there's moments where it's given to you, but I think you work for those moments when they happen, you know? So, I don't know. I think it's a choice.
You work for those moments.
Yeah, I think so.
Is there a truth to being able to achieve a baseline of happiness?
Yes and no. I don't know. I don't think I have the answer to that question necessarily. I think this world is pretty bizarre, and so for me at least in my life, it's been this, you know. I think there's lows of amazing moments and there's lows of lows, and I think
that is life.
I think that, yeah, exactly. I think that's the wave that you ride the whole time, and when you become aware of that, I think the last 2 years made me more aware of this can happen, but so can this, you know. And you need to just back up sometimes and realize that's kind of how life just goes, you know. In terms of not taking it too serious, that's where I try not to take it too serious, is like, don't get caught up in the little nuances of where you're down and where you're up. Just like back up and try to enjoy it as a whole wherever you are. And that's tough to do. It's easier said than done.
Oh yeah.
But that's the battle I've been trying to fight, is even in the lull of all the crap that happened, I'm like, wait, but right now I'm on the Zach Sang show. I'm making music I love. I'm actually still close with my bandmates after all of this crap is said and done, you know. So there's always yin and yang to everything, you know. There's always highs and lows. So that's where I feel like happiness is a choice, is you kind of choose which moment you want to take as good, you know.
Yeah, by the way,
because there's always good. There is always
you
good. You
can find good in everything.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, almost everything. Let me correct that.
Yeah.
So, are you cool with the rest of the band and the other guys? Because this has nothing to do with any of you?
Yeah. No, this does not have to do with us.
No,
yeah.
It is so not internal.
It messed with us, and it sucked, you know. Like it took a toll on all of us, and it wore us out, like mentally, physically, all which ways, and like it kind of for a while stripped the life out of us, and it was hard because we would try to get together and have fun, and when you have that much weight on your shoulders, that much of a burden on your back, it's really hard for you five to be the careless group that we were. And that was just unfair, man. Like that really sucked. But what's nice lately actually is the fact that we are apart and there isn't a business sense in talking about making that separation. The business isn't involved with us right now. I'm actually the closest I've been with these guys in the last couple of years,
which
because
is crazy
we can just
to
have
say.
fun. I saw Zach last night, and we were having a great time at a Halloween party, and like it's so fun again. And so that's been awesome.
Well, is it fun again because you've let go of this weight? Like, why don't we as attached to a huge legal burden?
We're still going through it together, but separately in a sense. You know what I mean? Like there's not a weight between us now where like we're like, oh, like it feels like the ship is crashing. Like, no, we're all figuring it out on our own, but at least we have the freedom on our own to kind of figure it out now. You know, that's been nice.
Is there resentment that exists because Why Don't We wasn't necessarily, correct me if I'm wrong, like you guys announced a tour. You were ready to go. There were people that you were talking to about opening.
No, we were set.
You had an opening.
We had
set?
rehearsal a week out from when it got pulled down. I mean, we were ready to go.
So to say that this was unexpected, is that a fair thing to say?
Oh, very. Yeah, it was very unexpected. And I was again the nerd whiz kid that was making music in the back of the bus all the time, and so I feel like I had the luck of having 300 plus songs
ready to go
to an extent, at least, where then I could sit down and go, where am I now with this, and right on top of that. But I really took a lot of time to figure out who I was because I just loved it so much. It was my hobby. Like, Corbin loved video games and he was playing Fortnite. I was sitting on my laptop and I was making beats, and that wasn't something we did for the band necessarily. But when this all happened, I kind of went, oh shoot, well wait, I have a lot of stuff I've said, and that was the first time I really looked back and heard it all back too, and went, oh, there's some stuff here, So that was like a blessing in disguise for me.
Well, the amount of times I'd walk backstage and see you all doing your things at your different computer stations.
Everyone had something, you know. Like
Yeah, to keep 'em
everyone was
busy.
their own character.
Yeah,
Green rooms were hilarious.
Oh my God, dressing rooms were, and I've seen you in some ridiculously narrow and small and crusty.
Oh,
and,
the nooks and crannies.
oh
yeah,
my
yeah.
God! And it didn't matter where you all were, you set up your shit. And
Oh
you
yeah,
did
we
your
made
own
it work.
thing.
That was home. We were like nomads out there,
Yeah,
man.
you really
and we
were.
toured more than most artists. Even we were 4 years straight. We would come back for a week for Christmas, and then we were back out.
I told you last time, and it's a line that people still hit me with when they see me. You guys worked harder than any group I've ever seen.
We actually, I found out
we.
we broke the record at Atlantic Records for the most promo ever
I told
done.
you.
by
I
an
told
act. No,
you.
you call.
I
we'll
knew it.
find an old clip where he goes, "I think you guys probably broke the record."
Like there was like no way. There's just
Yeah, it was gnarly.
yeah.
We would literally, we would wake up at 5 a.m. interviews. We would go to the show, do sound check, do meet and greet, do the show. We would go to the bus. It'd be 2 a.m. Go to the next city, wake up 5. I mean, we get 3 hours of sleep every night. It was insane. And then 5 a.m. you're just like,
You have to go again.
Oh my gosh, it was crazy.
So
We were like the loopiest bunch you could, and you could see it in our first interview. We were all over.
Yeah, but your performances were always impeccable.
Oh, thank you.
I gotta say
That's
that. Like,
just pure adrenaline, and
yeah,
I miss that.
When you needed to work, you always rose to the occasion.
Thank you.
And I have seen your show many times. My favorite part will always be when you whip out the freaking
Oh, the cello.
the cello, and you
I
sit
love
down
you,
and you
man.
play it. It's
Oh, thank you.
so good.
I'll be
You're
whipping.
so talented.
I'll be whipping that. Well, let me
You'll be whipping
rephrase
it
that.
out?
Yeah, I'll be whipping it out again at my next show. It'll be.
Tickets are sold out already. Whatever you're
let's
gonna whip
go.
out,
Let's
people are
go.
gonna be there.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be really fun.
So let's break this down. When in all of this, timeline-wise, do you actually start making your own stuff, or in that like hard drive that you have that's been collecting dust? Is it a collection of things that you maybe were going to pitch to the band, things that you maybe could see as your own?
I was just making it for fun, and I think it's so personal. We tried with one song that never came out to actually record it with the band, one of mine that was like a very personal song, and it just didn't work because there was music made for the band and the band had a sound, and my sound just wasn't that. I mean, if you listen to Can We Pretend, it sounds nothing like the band, and that wasn't intentional. It just, when I make what I'm making and it's like me, I'm not really even referencing anything. I'm just making it, and so it's got a very unique sound. That Why Don't We was already a brand even, and we had this sound that we loved.
Yeah.
They were two different things, and so a lot of the music I was making on my own kind of had that similar effect where it was like it made sense for me, and it had this voice and sound that was Daniel, but it didn't really fit the band necessarily. And so I pulled splices, like there might be like a hook from 2-3 years ago where I go, oh, now that's cool, and then I take it now and build back on it where I'm at now. You know, there is like a current thing happening where I'll probably go home after this. There's this idea I gotta go finish, actually. You know, like I'm still working every day because it's a hobby, but I'm pulling from a lot of different places, a lot of different tracks I made.
That's really cool that you're using old stuff to be rebuilt upon now.
Yeah, I mean, if there's a melody that feels timeless, I'm really trying to stretch for stuff right now that just feels timeless, you know? And so if there's ever a melody where I feel like that could have been made 2 years ago but still resonates with me today, that feels special, you know?
So Can We Pretend That We're Good? Where does it start? Is it starting with lyrics, or when?
That one, I was at a rehearsal and I just figured out, I found this video. I could probably find it on my phone. I was at a rehearsal with the band for the tour that got canceled, and I just like had a little moment where I heard a melody. So that one started with a melody, and then I sat on it for like 2 months, didn't do anything with it, heard it back later and went, oh, that is catchy.
Something.
Then the production came in, and then I wrote the lyrics with my friend Anthony, and that dude.
No way.
He is,
Of course.
Dude is such a poet, and I'm a very conceptual writer. Like, I think of like what I want the whole story to encompass. He is so good at stream of consciousness. Like, he's so good at writing exactly what he's feeling, and it gave so much magic to that song where it was like exact thoughts and very emotional appeal, but also being very like, this is what it's talking about, you know?
And still structured like a real pop song.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, that's probably
The
what
hook
Why
is
Don't We
great.
built into me is I
Yeah.
just like the pop structure. But thank you. I'm trying to, I know I have it like right here. It's super cute. Where is it? I thought I made like a little, oh, I did. Yeah, here we go. I hope this isn't not some weird, it's just a black screen, so we'll see.
Oh, so good.
Let's see. And then there's like this cute little other one. Definitely not the words. But yeah,
Yeah, but
that's
you
where
could
it
hear it
started.
in there.
That's super cool.
October 3rd, 2021, almost actually a year. So I was wrong. It wasn't I don't know what that rehearsal was for. I was wrong about it being
Wait.
for that.
That's crazy.
Almost a year ago. Yeah. Or a little over a year ago.
Yeah.
I just realized I almost dropped it exactly a year from when I thought of it. That's crazy.
So when do you
Wow.
do you start fleshing that out into a real song immediately or what?
Well, so I sat on that one for like 2 months. I didn't think much of it when I first made it, and I actually heard it being how you just heard it there, this acoustic little thing, and then I heard Happier Than Ever, and was like, that is exactly where that song should be going. And when you hear the other stuff too, it's all got this dark rock, hip hop, R&B undertone to it. So that one though, when it was done, lightning in a bottle. Like when it was all finished, I kind of like zoned out for like hours all night. I'm sitting on it till like 5 a.m. and then like backed up, you know, went and got a water or something, got my ears all fresh, came back, hit play, and was like, called my manager like, yo, we got one. Like, I mean, that one was special. The second it was done,
You
I was
felt
like,
it.
whoa, yeah.
How many songs did you have finished before you announced that you were going solo?
I mean, God.
Like
Two-
finished.
Finished, 60 would be my guess.
Wow.
Finished?
Finished.
Holy
So
Yeah. Probably like 300 good little things, but there's got to be like 60 where I'd be okay putting those out.
hold on.
But you know, I'm not gonna put out a 60 song album. No way. But,
Yeah, but what was the process to determining that? Can we pretend that we're good? Being the first one.
I don't know. I just felt it when that one was done. Magic in a bottle, but also maybe the way people reacted when I played it. I mean, you make music to entertain people, and I would play them, you know, a few songs. That one just, it got people out of their seats. I mean, when the tremolo vocal hits, if no, talk about a weird sound. When that hits, people are like, what is that? Like, there was just so much about it that was so interesting and unique. And I don't know, when I heard it back the first time, it just felt like, this is me more than like anything I made. The other songs of mine, you can hear like inspiration and influence more of where it comes from. This one felt pretty like, I don't know if I've heard this before. And there's still inspiration. You can hear Happier Than Ever in there, and you can hear undertones of other stuff. But at the end of the day, it's pretty unique. You know, like it's got its own taste and flavor. And so that made me really happy about it. I was like, it's a statement, you know?
It is a statement, and I feel like it's a statement that can be taken very generally, but maybe also poignant for you.
Yeah, for sure.
Is it coming from a reality standpoint, or is it coming from Ant's reality? Where does it come
Yeah, it's coming from a reality standpoint, yeah. It could mean a lot of different things, so I don't like to
No, totally.
pinpoint it.
I think it's broader than just like
but
a traditional relationship.
It definitely was off some real stuff. Yeah, definitely. I kind of liked that it could land on a few different things that I was going through, but there was a specific, like when I went in that day to write the lyrics, I was like, I need to write about this.
Had you announced that the band was done at the time that you were going to write it, or did you know it was coming?
No. I was just making it.
Did you know that that the band's end could be in sight?
Yeah, I think I would say the last year we were
They
all
put it in
pretty
jeopardy.
walking on eggshells with the lawsuit and everything going on. We were like, well, like, you know, let's love you guys. Let's see what happens. You know, like hoping that it wouldn't, obviously, and hoping all goes well. That's obviously what you hope. But the last year we were all kind of like, all right, let's just like hope for the best, try to do all we can. And phew, man, there were layers to that.
But in a way, did you guys almost feel like it was time?
Yeah.
I don't know, dude.
Yeah, maybe just if it was like a storybook.
Mm-hmm.
If you're reading it like a storybook, like that felt like the chapter at that point where like the way life goes, you were like, yeah. But it definitely wasn't the way that we would hope.
Yeah.
Especially, you talk to 16-year-old us, we would not have hoped that's how it goes,
No,
obviously.
But also you have billions and billions and billions and billions and billions and billions of streams.
Thank you.
Like,
Yeah, those are...
that's like real. Like that's like real tangible success and
Oh yeah, and that, I mean, that's
a catalog that's fucking awesome.
Dude, and it's, I mean, our fans are some of the most amazing fans. Still to this day be sticking with us, even through all this, even through us breaking up, us doing our solo stuff right now. They have, I mean, they're still there. And that is something that, like, I don't even, there's not words to describe, like, how thankful we all are for that. It's crazy. It really is crazy how dedicated they've been to us through all of it.
When do you start really focusing on your own stuff?
When the tour got pulled down, I was like, okay. You know, I think at some point, especially during COVID, we all started making stuff and messing around. And I think obviously there's a part, like for me, it was always like, there's a part of me that I haven't even shared with the world, and I'd love to share that. But, you know, you got to find the right time, and like, you got to keep empathy. And that's something that's really important to me. You know, I wanted to, you got to do this with an empathetic heart, because if you start thinking selfishly, it never serves you the way you want it to. And I've seen enough selfishness in the last 2 years to not want to be part of that at all. And so as much as I selfishly did love the music I was making, I wanted to make sure if it came out, it was under a circumstance where I'm not putting that above the pedestal of my band, because I really do care about those guys, you know.
Respect.
Yeah,
I
thanks,
mean,
man.
it is. I say respect, and it is, you know, fueled by integrity, but also in the same breath, like, why don't we just give in each and every one of you the most? Like,
Oh yeah,
it's why you're able
the
to have a
biggest
house,
gift
dude.
we
Like,
have
fuck.
ever been given. Yeah,
But also
1,000%.
in the same breath,
Yeah.
great gifts do come at great costs.
Oh yeah, and that's what we've been learning.
But
you know?
but I also think that, like, what should not be lost on anyone, like, sometimes the bigger the gift, the bigger the bigger the cost, right?
Dude, I love that you say that. I've always imagined like if this is life as a line, right? If you want to choose the 9 to 5 life, you're gonna have this much good, I would expect, and that much bad, and it's gonna stay here, and you can be totally happy with that because the good is gonna weigh out the bad about evenly.
Yeah.
Right? You're not gonna have some crazy thing happen, most likely, like 98% of the time, right? It stays about the same. If you have a boy band situation where it takes off and you're playing and you're doing this,
Dude, you can go super high, but when you fall so much harder.
You're gonna, exactly, the higher you go, the harder you fall, and that's the learning experience that I, you know, now feel like I've been given to learn from. You know, for when you're in the down, it really sucks, but learning to kind of back up from all of that and use it as wisdom is like where I'm at now, and still figuring it out. You know, it's no easy task. But
Totally, but with every fall comes great knowledge and great understanding and a better perspective.
If you look at it, if you choose
you have
to look
to.
at it that way, that's the whole. Yeah, exactly. You gotta choose to look at it that way, because I mean, I honestly, with how much happened, when you're here, and the carpet's ripped from you, and you go into COVID, like, felt like the last thing I had to worry about in terms of everything happening. It was crazy how much stuff was happening. And I'm sure a lot of people could relate to that, where like COVID was tough and it brought up a lot of other tough stuff. When you're down here, there's a point where you're like, I could turn into a vegetable right now if I wanted to,
It doesn't matter.
and it would be easier. It would have been easier at that point, but you got to decide right there if you're going to do that or not. You can't just let it go by, you know? And it's not easy, but you also, I don't know, maybe it was easier for me because I just love music, you know, it's what I want to do. So
you start making your own stuff really during the Panorama, but really gets serious once tour gets canceled.
Yeah.
So how fast do you feel like you need to get records done and
Oh, well,
polished?
again,
and-
like,
figure out a vision.
Yeah,
like,
once it was go
aesthetically.
time, I'm not the type to like sit around for anyone and wait to the point where I produced the whole thing myself. Like I was
Sick.
like, I'm gonna just do it all
So,
on my own.
What is the conversation like with the guys?
I trying to remember. They all knew the song. I played it for them before. Actually, I do remember now. We were all sitting in my living room, and my manager brought it up, and he was like, you know, Daniel has this song, and it was pretty. I want to say it was like really close to the tour being pulled too, and so I was obviously a little nervous about like bringing it up to the guys because again, I don't want it to come off as like, oh, you know, I'm dropping this song and you know I've been waiting for like I didn't want it to feel like that. I just had it. This is what I do. This is what I love. I'm gonna get going on it. My manager says, you know, he has this song. He wants to drop it. And I'm like, please nobody pulled out boxing gloves. Like, please, you know. Dude, Jonah gets up and he walks straight towards me. And he's a big boy, you know. I'm like, oh boy, what's he gonna do, bro? And he gives me this big old hug and he's like, I'm so excited for you. I started bawling, dude. And then Corbin from like the corner is like, song's hard, bro, let's go. Like, and like all of them, Jack Sack, just were like, I'm so happy for you, man. Like, that's amazing. Because again, it didn't have to do with us, you know.
Yeah.
We want the best for each other. Like I've been hearing some of the stuff my boys are making and it's amazing. I'm excited for them. Like we just want to stay doing what we love, you know. And again, God bless our fans for waiting around this long. And like, I'm excited for them to get to even see this side of us. You know, we talked years ago about the idea of when we were a band doing these separate EPs at one point where we did our own sound because like we all do have our own unique flares and sounds. You know, Corbin's got this R&B flair that's crazy and we always wanted to show that. And so again, we're trying to look at it in the best light we can and be like, wait, this is a great opportunity for us to dive into ourselves, you know. But it's a big gift and blessing to be able to do that with your bandmates because a lot of these, when these things end, typically it gets political in the band, and I find it to be such a gift that I can like still hit my bandmate up and be like, how are you, and get advice from them, and we're still going through the same situation right now.
If you don't realize that you're in it together and it's a brotherhood, and like when one rises, you all rise with it. Like you guys are
and it's
insane.
gonna be tough. Yeah. Then it gets real tough. We don't want to go there.
but like at the end of the day, like you want to understand that like you're in this together, and I think the circumstances around the group coming to a close was so out of everybody's control. So it wasn't like anybody's personal decision to pull the rug out or, you know, make a step that was out of line. That wasn't, you know.
No, we were like more cognizant than normal, I think, of making sure everyone was okay with it because it wasn't from the selfish intent. Like, we don't want to screw each other over at all. You know, there's no intention there. But we also... we got careers to take care of now, and that's how we all see it, you know. Like I think now there might be a little friendly competition, but it's like fun, you know. Like Jonah won't play me some of his new tracks, and I know that shit's good. I want to hear it. No, he won't play it. But I won't play in mine, so it's fun.
But see, that healthy competition fuels actual greatness.
Exactly, and like it's from love and intent. Like it's
family.
Fun, you know.
You want the best for those around you.
It's not like screw that, you know. Like
but if Jonah does play something, you think you could add a little bit to it? Will you say something, or do you not even put that?
No, I'd be like, it sounds good. No, I mean if he asked me, sure.
The way
I don't know if he would ask.
That's tea.
Yeah.
The way I see this, genuinely, is as you go off and do your own thing, your individual colors get brighter because people get to know you more. Yeah. So then when and if you choose to go back to Why Don't We, which could be in the cards, could not, never say never.
Yep.
Prolific words. When you come back,
that was crazy how you just did that. Yeah. We're going to take a beat. Okay, anyway.
But when you all come back together that much brighter, the painting that you all collectively paint becomes that much more vivid.
And honestly, I love that you said that because these solo endeavors, I think, are lighting everyone's like fuse again, their match.
Yeah, because you all got comfortable, even though you were living a hard life that required a lot of work.
Yeah, well, and again,
you get in a routine of that hardness, and there's comfort that's bred from that.
Yeah, you're totally right, and it's nice to be like running a race again now.
Yeah.
You know, fighting this fight. Like, I think I'll look back at this and like as much as it felt like this dark period of fighting, I'm gonna look back and be like, it's always the time you look back on and go, oh, but we were running there. Like when it actually becomes that, it actually gets kind of boring. You're right. Like when you're up there, then you're stressing about staying there. When you're here, there's so much less care, like in a good way. You're careless in like a really fun, exciting way. That's been fun for me musically. You know, the music I'm making is kind of all over the place, and like I've had conversations with people where they're like, you need to like hone in. I keep getting this question, who are you trying to recreate? Like everyone, like who are you pulling from? Who's the artist in the past that you're trying to be now? And I'm
why
like,
the fuck would anyone ask
I'm
that?
trying to be Daniel, but like because there's that formula, right? Like
question.
There's that formula where people think you gotta like be something that's worked already, but like thank God for someone like Billie Eilish, or even thank God for Harry now. Look at someone who was in the side of what you would consider the formula. Look what his last album was, and look at the album before that. I think that is awe-inspiring, and that's musically where I know I'm capable of heading, so I'd be doing myself disjustice to not go there, you know?
Yeah, but also like anybody who goes like, what artists are you pulling from the past is someone who is...
You can imagine what they look like, maybe how old they are, what they sound.
I hope they watch this. You're fucking moronic. You understanding that like history does repeat itself in not obvious or intentional ways. Like when history organically resurfaces and like trends are reborn, it's never like dot for dot, letter for letter. It comes in a way that like it sneaks up on you. Nobody who's doing that is planning to like
so right.
be the next X. That's not.
No.
That's,
and it's
fuck
always
that.
more than ever too. It's so genuine now. You have to be.
The great art is bred from authenticity.
The authenticism is everything now, and that makes me so happy. The formula tries to follow what was first authentic, always, right? Like,
and that's what's nuts. Like you can go back and go. Say like I don't know, Harry Styles pulls from X. He's not intentionally pulling from X.
Exactly.
He's become that.
Well,
because
and
it's tied to organic roots.
like to an extent, you take inspiration, but if you're copying them, sure. But if you take inspiration and you make it your own, then it's your own. So that's the whole, you know.
Maybe some people could go, Olivia Rodrigo is comparable to Alanis Morissette or Avril Lavigne or Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
I think.
But when you hear Olivia, you know it's Olivia and not Taylor.
Yeah.
But you can hear Taylor in it. That's great. You know, you can hear Billie in my new song, but it's not Billie, you know.
Totally.
There is inspiration there, and like you're going to hear more inspiration, but when you compile it all together, that's what I still love about albums too, is you take it all and it becomes this like, whoa, what, this world. I'm really excited for that. But yeah.
You can't.
That's how it works. That's how it works.
Yeah.
But again, you try to copy it like an ABC list. It's just
repetition of history sneaks up on you, and it comes from
takes
organic
the fun
ties.
out of it too. Talk about having fun in a studio. That's how the fun is made right there. It's like not caring that much, not overthinking.
Just being yourself.
Yeah.
So who's in the studio with you when you're making this music?
Just me.
Wow.
I actually prefer, like, it's so weird, but I prefer like just me being in the room, because like I'm a people pleaser, right? So when someone walks in a room, like you turn, and like you guys are interviewers, you know, you turn on a switch to an extent, but I don't know, you guys are pretty genuine all the goddamn time.
I'm pretty much the same every time you see me,
I mean,
right?
that's a talent of yours that I don't know if I have, because when I'm on my own in the studio, this is my face.
Is it
on
fun?
the like laptop, just like, oh yeah, I'm making the hardest shit you ever heard. I'm like this. Like that's, you know, and maybe not when I'm playing an instrument and I'll kind of get into it or whatever, but yeah, like I like just like zoning out. Like when it comes to like making the music, I'm like fully one of those like whiz kid nerd guys. Like I like just honing in on it. You know?
Will you start with production, or do you start with a lyric or a melody that you come up with?
Depends on the song, but typically I start with a melody or production. Like I'll hear a song and be like, oh, that fits where I resonate with. I'm gonna go make something similar to that. I've been doing that a lot lately, and then I'll come back and add like layers to it. But by the end, you're like, where'd you pull from? Like the other day, I listened to "This Is Halloween." This is Halloween. And was like, this is the hardest melody I've ever heard. And then I heard Feel Good Inc. for the first time in my life.
Oh.
Never heard the Gorillaz.
What?
I actually saw them at Coachella with Billy, and I was like, who's this guy with a megaphone? I never heard of them.
What?
And like, growing up in Portland, we didn't listen to like anybody but like singer-songwriters. Like Alan Stone was like the guy I looked up to. Ed Sheeran was the most mainstream artist I knew, and maybe Adele. But like, it was very folk. Yeah, like people that like really small
but
artists.
Storytellers though.
Yeah.
Real storytellers.
Yeah. So I heard Halloween, heard that song and ran home and made this, it sounds like some feel good Gorillaz meets This Is Halloween thing, and you when you hear it, you could probably go, oh, I hear a little Gorillaz in there. You definitely can't hear This Is Halloween at this point, but to like see where it ends up is always fun.
But are you setting lyrics to match whatever mood comes from that production?
Yeah, and I've been trying to get better at writing down a thought, and then separately I'll do this, and then if they almost like match up, that seems to be working for me lately. Sort of like a little poem outside of the cadence of melodies I'm hitting, and then I like go, oh wait, but this like coincides with that. Or I feel like a lot of writers do this. You do the and then you're like, oh, I heard this word in there, and then you build off of that. That's fun too, but it depends on the song. I try to let like the moment just happen, and then like after a good hour of like not thinking at all, I go walk away, I come back and I like play, and sometimes I'll play it and I'll be like, oh my, sometimes I'm like, I gotta go to bed right now, this is terrible. Like, doesn't always work, but
well, at what point do you go to And is he on any other songs but this
one? We're not writing together as much, but we like hit it for like a week solid, where I had a ton of songs. Lyrics take me way longer. I'll take 3 to 6 months because I want the lyrics to like really matter. And that's where Ant and me blended so well, is he's just spewing out these thoughts, and I would always have a concept in mind of where I wanted to bring it. And so using these thoughts and kind of morphing them into where I saw it go, we knocked out 30 songs on our own.
Whoa.
Yeah, we had like a album and a half's worth of songs that we made together, just like that. Like he's an amazing talent. He's awesome.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it was really fun. And it was, again, like we were just homies having fun. It wasn't this like we need to make like, it wasn't for anything, or but can we pretend? I mean, look what it ended up being, like we were just having fun with it, which is when the best things happen. I swear it's always the case. And like, that's why you just can't take it serious, you're not going to get something special out of being like, we need to copy this person, we need to sound like this. And like, it just doesn't
I also think that like, do you think ever like Michael Jackson was asked like, so who are you pulling from?
That's what I'm saying.
Like, what's it like? Who are you trying to emulate?
Exactly.
Who are you trying
and
to
again,
be?
like,
what the fuck?
Yeah, you can be like, who do you love?
No, you're yourself wrapped in inspiration based on what you've experienced.
Yes. You just, wow, bars, dude. Oh my gosh.
Do you think your fans had expectations though of what you were going to release, or do you think?
Yeah, and I intentionally didn't give them any of the rock side of Can We Pretend, because I wanted to like woo them. I teased only the acoustic part, and it sounded like some pretty little ballad. Like
so
you thought
beautiful.
It was, yeah, like everyone, I saw so many comments being like, this is gonna be so pretty, and like, that's why I asked them to do reaction videos, and I had a field day that day watching them, just geeking out, because it starts with that low guitar, dum, 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 and it just stays there, and the next thing you hear is an 808 and a tremolo vocal, like the opposite of the start. If not, I'm gonna do that like 2 more times. That hits, and every time I played it for someone, like the live reaction just like gave me chills. And so that day was fun for me, watching fans be like, what, like play it again, like what did I just hear? Like, that, mission accomplished.
Did it go the way you hoped it could go?
Yeah, it was really fun. How
long have you been thinking about that day?
Actually, not that long, to be honest. I don't think I was thinking about it like that. I think I was pretty damn nervous the day it came, because it is so different, and our fans are used to a certain sound and whatnot. It's obviously like scary to open up in that way, but at the same time, like, I would rather like die on something that I know is me than like try my whole life to be something I'm not, and maybe it even works out better for me. So I was going into it just like, I don't care how well this does at this point. Like, I'm having the most fun I've had in a long time on the music aspect with this song, and that any amount of love and validation at that point was like bringing me to tears. So that whole day I was just a wreck. Like, the amount of love that came in from fans, and even like the DSPs and all that stuff that you hope for, just like all encompassing. I was I was beside myself that day. I was like, this is crazy. It was
Daniel-
a really, really special day.
Daniel Seavey was on the cover of Pop Culture.
Yeah, it
Our
was
playlist.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was amazing.
It is special.
Just thinking
yeah?
about it, I'm like, man, that was, it's a good day. And again, my bandmates are texting me, congrats. Like, it was pretty amazing. I haven't actually thought about it much because I've just been doing this. It's cool to think about it for a sec.
I mean, the music video is pretty sick too. You went back to Portland to do that, right? Or
Went to Portland, yeah. I hadn't been there since we did a show, I want to say 4 years ago there.
Wow.
And yeah, Portland's going through it a little bit right now. I hope it gets a little better.
It's crazy.
I went to like
You grew up
Voodoo
in
Donuts, one of my favorite donut shops, and I went at like 9 p.m.
Sketchy.
You'd think you were at Horror Nights, bro. There's a lot of homeless there right now. It's crazy.
It's really sad.
Yeah, no, it's nuts. I was like, whoa.
But you grew up like more in the woods, right?
Yeah. I was like 20 minutes outside of Portland.
Yeah. Which is woods.
Yeah, it was pretty woodsy. It was pretty woodsy. I had a forest in my backyard, so yeah.
Sick.
Like it was like a public trail, walking trail. I would just hop the fence and, go kindle wood and shit.
You're
As a
wood
kid,
kindler?
oh yeah. I saw my grandparents. That was so sweet. They haven't changed one bit. My grandma still has this perfect little white afro. Her hair is amazing. My grandpa had the same floral shirt on. I was like, have you washed it, Grandpa? Like, was same exact cargo pants on. I was like, this is crazy. They were just the sweetest as always.
Was it nice to go back now, like
Oh
at
my
this stage
gosh,
of life?
yes. Like reminded me of so much of the parts of me I loved. Like I felt like a kid again. I was in my bedroom as a kid. All of that was like a healthy reminder given the last 2 years of all the crap that happened. I don't even think people understand. For me, it was really something because there was this lawsuit. Well, there was, I think, 4 lawsuits. My best friend died in my arms. My mom got cancer. My parents divorced. And then there's other stuff that just, but like this was all in the span of a year really. And so like that year I was like, man, what is going on? Like it was so much happening at once. I couldn't even like believe, and it's still a process of working that all through your head. But at the same time, I was like, I need to make a decision right now. If I'm going to let this control me and my thoughts throughout my day, or if I'm going to choose to in a good way move on and move forward. And that choice changed everything for me because I'm telling you, it was a hectic 2 years.
I knew about everything, but I didn't know about your best friend passing.
Yeah, well, Corey. Yeah, I don't know if you might. He was a well-known dude, quite the stud.
I knew of him.
Yeah, he's tatted on me right here. That night, he was from Australia. He was a drinker, and so it was his birthday.
Yeah.
And he had been drinking quite a bit, as we always did together. We were some party kids. We were having fun. I was like, I don't even know how old I was when we were having fun together. But that night, he took a tattoo gun. He was, he had a couple drinks and he tattooed his name on his own leg upside down. And so, like, all the friends that were there ended up getting that exact tattoo. So I have, like, Corey in, like, the funniest font on my leg right now. But it was crazy, man, because I actually I was working on a song idea that day, as I always am. And he had his birthday party set, and I was like, I'm going to get there a little late. I'm working on this. I want to get it done. And I showed up there. A little late. When I pulled up, the Lambo he was in, it was a friend showing off his new car. It drove off and I didn't think anything of it because I just got there. Like, I just pulled up and I walked in the door like, where's my boy? And everyone's walking towards the door, and I'm like, what's going on? Oh, Corey just got in that Lambo with Daniel. Like, everyone knows, Daniel Silva, this guy. He was a tattoo artist that Corey looked up to a ton, and they had both been drinking. Skirted off.
You got into an accident.
I didn't even know, and so I go, oh, and as like they told me that, I hear you hear the sound, and we go out, and like 2 blocks down, I just like see it like coming off the tree. And I'm like, we get down there. And the craziest thing is like, this is like the whole birthday party. Like, is all his best friends, and like, it's morbid in a sense and like kind of bittersweet, where it's like, whoa, like what a crazy way to go, I guess, if it was going to happen, that all your friends were there to help. Me and my friend Oscar, adrenaline going through us, just yanked the door off, pulled him out, like, you know, the whole thing, went to the ER, and we all just waited out there for like an hour. And like, that's where it was crazy. We're all thinking like, there's no way that he's not going to come out. And a doctor comes out and he was like, yeah, no, it you know, it's not looking like it's, and like, it's crazy because things happen in life where like, you don't think it's really happening and it's too surreal, and 3 months later it hits you. This was different. It was so real that it just, like,
bro, you pulled him out of the car
immediately. Yeah. And when they said like, he's not going to make it, like that moment, I swear it took me a year and a half to like get back to life not being too real. Like before, nothing mattered. The second those words came out of that dude's mouth, everything mattered for a good year. Every word that came out of people's mouths like did something to me. Like it was a weird, and I mean, this is one of my first times even like talking very openly about it, because it was so hard to even like, I would say like, I could like have those small talk where I'd be like, yeah, it happened, and then like move on from it.
Yeah.
Very weird thing to process, because it's like, it's bigger than you. It's outside of your control. And that was tough for me, not being able to like control the situation and just like accept it.
But also true character is tested in those moments.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And that's where I'm like,
the person who runs towards the explosion.
Yeah. But again, like it taught me of
and I
everything.
Can see it in my head.
Oh yeah.
I'm so sorry that you went through that.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah. And
I mean, it was right. You did the right thing, but it sticks with you forever.
Happens. Yeah. And I don't know. It did for a while. Everything mattered. Before, nothing mattered. And I do think the silver lining, like if I find a gift in it all, it taught me there's like a middle ground where stuff does matter. I think words really do matter. But those nuances of like awkward silence or messing up, or, you know, when you feel like the room's closing in on you and whatnot, that does not matter. Like laugh it off. It does not matter, you know? And that used to be my whole personality, to a point where like nothing mattered, and that's unhealthy. You know, I used to have a problem where I wouldn't text my family enough and keep up with the people I love enough, because I was in my own world too much. And now I'm like, man, family's everything. Like there are things that matter. And so like, I do think the lesson in that was like finding a balance of like choosing what matters and what doesn't, you know, that, yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Can you see that? Like, does that moment replay in your head often?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. I've heard some people say like, if when a traumatic event happens, you like can't picture it or remember it, that you block it out. Didn't happen for me. It's like, can definitely see it. Crazy.
It'll black out eventually.
Yeah.
Sometimes. I know. I'm telling you.
You know, though,
like,
I've come to enough terms with it where now I just understand like that is life. You know. You know. But before I thank my parents for this. Even my whole upbringing, my parents were so great that it felt like way more of this than this. And maybe that's why this hit so hard. But I thank them for it. My upbringing was amazing. I mean, my parents were so amazing. They hid so much of the negative side of the world from us in such an amazing way, and it gave us this light that like I'm so proud of. This was a tough battle, but for me on my own to figure out how to like grab onto some light again and like choose to be that person again, like I don't know, it was exciting for me, you know.
Are you able to forgive Daniel Seavey? That's his name, right? The tattoo artist.
We'll see.
Okay.
I tried to talk to. I saw him once. I tried to talk to him, and it wasn't a good first combo. So I don't know. We'll see.
Where were you that he was in the same place?
Oh, it was just. I mean, it was weird because it was it was maybe like 6 to 8 months after it happened. I hadn't gone out in a while, and someone like invited me out to, it was just some like party in the hills that I was at. And that's the last place I would expect to see him, I guess, even. But I don't know. At the end of the day, man, I'm trying to come to terms with also like the fact that he's human, and like trying to understand where his head has to be at. And, you know, we all make mistakes, and like there's no part of me that also thinks that guy intended to do that. Accidents happen, you know, and so I'm trying to have like a empathetic heart on it, you know, and try to be, I don't know, I just think everyone's capable of mistake, and so I don't want to take that sort of anger to the grave with something like that, you know. That doesn't feel right. So yeah, I don't know. I would love to talk to him at a time that makes sense. I think that would be good, but I don't know. I don't like the idea of just like pinning it on this guy as this thing he intended upon. I don't think that was at all, you know. No one intends to do something like that.
Was your first interaction with him different than the conversation we're having now?
Yeah, no. It was a heat of a moment conversation. Yeah. It was too soon.
Yeah,
too soon.
It
was too soon for both of us. And we walked away pretty quick. I think it was good for both of us to walk away because it was too soon.
And by the way, some clarity. Like I said before, things like that, they're traumatic. It gets dimmer and dimmer as time goes on, but you never forget it, right? I think it may not visit you involuntarily or unwarranted.
Yeah.
But the second you tap into that moment, you can see it just as vividly as it was happening.
Oh, yeah.
That I can tell. Dude,
Yeah.
I've saved a lot of people from overdosing, and I can look back at every single one of those moments in the most vivid of way.
Dude, that says even more about you, though. The fact that, dude, you got an overage of light coming off you that is like, people watching this, like they can see it, but to feel it is something else. It's both of you. It's so special to know. On top of that, you've seen some of the horrors that the world can bring you to that personal extent. Not easy.
I just want to say thank you to you for sharing that, because I know.
Thanks for bringing it out of me in a way that felt so right.
The reason
not easy to do.
No, but it's also really hard in to revisit that in any situation.
Sure.
Is never a welcomed.
Yeah,
it's super hard, and I could
weird. It's just so real.
Yeah.
You know, that's what's crazy. It's so real. Nothing more real than it, really.
And as you were telling us, I could feel it, and I could see it, and you're people who run towards moments like that, again, is a true test of their character and their person.
Yeah.
So, you know, really,
thanks.
The right thing. I'd say admirable, but the right thing to do.
Man,
you know.
I want to hug you
Integrity.
all right now.
What were you saying?
I
Sorry.
want to give you all a big old
No,
hug.
I was just saying when I reacted to what you said, that is because like as you're talking, like my best friend died in an accident like 7 years ago.
Oh my
and
gosh.
like it doesn't get easier. What you just talked about now is more than I've spoken about in 7 years.
Wow.
I won't talk about it.
Dude,
So,
I
like,
don't
as you-
blame you.
Yeah.
I
So
get
that's what I
dude.
mean, like, so you talking about is like that is more than I've ever spoken about it.
Oh man,
I won't talk
thanks
about
for
it.
saying that.
Yeah, it's just too hard to talk about.
No, it's dude. Yeah, it everyone is different, you know, and you just gotta respect that.
Mhm.
I think that quote on its own could go so many ways. Everyone is different.
Yeah.
You gotta respect that.
Absolutely.
You know? But man, I'm sorry. It's
Hey, as you said, it's life.
something to relate on for
Yeah.
sure. That's crazy.
But I thank you for sharing that too, because I remember when that happened. We only had one conversation about it, because I called you at right around the time.
Yeah, no, seriously.
Literally,
thanks
we
for
talked
saying
for
that.
0.5 seconds about it.
It's crazy.
So thank you for sharing that. I
Crazy.
really appreciate that.
But man, like the fact that y'all are so jolly is so awesome. Seriously,
No,
that's
dude,
crazy, man.
There's so much greatness in the reality that we all go through together.
Yeah,
And
like the fact that y'all are still doing what you do and loving it, good stuff, guys.
you could say the same for you. You have music that you're saying you have 60 songs ready to go. Do you have a release strategy in mind at all?
Oh yeah,
Like what?
oh yeah. Well, I'm gonna put it out.
Yeah, thanks.
That's about all you get. Sorry.
Well, what was Bleed on Me? Like this is the debut single, but what was Bleed on Me?
I wanted to tickle the pickle a little, if you know that term, you know.
Oh, I know it well.
I'll give you a nickel if you
Oh,
take my
yeah.
pickle.
Yeah, I wanted to.
Don't tempt me.
Bleed on Me was about my mom, and she had just beat cancer.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is for her. Like, again, not caring so much about numbers, that's a great testament to it, because I was like, I'm going to put it on SoundCloud. It's not my official release, but I need the world to hear this, and I need her to know that the world just heard this, because it would mean that much to me. So that made me so happy. And I put out a version of Hallelujah because I did it at Tribeca Music Festival.
So good. At
the Hallelujah premiere, and that was just like a moment for me, because my foot in the door of this business was me auditioning for American Idol with Hallelujah when I was a wee little lass. So I was like, I got it. It felt like special little moments to give the fans, but not the statement that Can We Pretend was, as like the...
Yeah, this was the real
deal.
So everything that follows will be the real deal as well, correct?
Oh yeah.
So when will we get those?
You'll get something before the end of the year.
Sick.
You'll get a couple.
What? But why was this the right song to go first?
Dude, just the statement it made. I think sonically, I took the most pride in it. The sound of it. It just sounded like nothing else I've really ever heard. It felt like a blend of music from the past and something so forward and new. And I think that song for me was a light bulb moment of where everything else headed. I think I was making stuff all in the similar world. I've been listening to like Cigarettes After Sex, The Weeknd, and Neighborhood, like all these dark tones, 21 Pilots, like the Gorillaz now, like all sort of this digitized, cool, dark world. And it was tough for me to apply this singer-songwriter folk acoustic sound I was writing so easily to that. That song was the first like clicking moment where both just like
came together
without any overthinking, just whoom. And I was like, whoa, that's me. That's like when I imagine who I was in this world of imagination, like sound and look wise and all, it encompassed that so well that I was like, yeah.
But you got to do that more. Like the greatest songwriters of all time are folk songwriters. They're folk storytellers.
Because they're timeless.
Yes.
There's something about timeless songs that it's funny, because I feel like you talk about like the suit in the room and they don't even understand like something timeless almost doesn't catch your ear as easy sometimes, like an Adele song versus like whatever the big TikTok hit right now is. I'm sure the TikTok hit has some crazy vocal that's like right in your face and you're like, what is this? It's like some overload. But which one is gonna like
last
please you 20 years from now? That's where like my soul resides, and that's what I like fight for in all of my music and try to like build on.
Dude, that storytelling is, again, that's what is timeless. But the right producer can turn a great song that's written in a like. Dude, what is folk? It's great storytelling with either a core of a guitar or
like
piano. It's acoustic.
It's soulful music.
But the greatest songs in the fucking world start as acoustic songs.
Yeah.
And also, Skylar Grey is a folk artist before she became Skylar Grey today. She's the only human being to write for Dr. Dre, Eminem, and Celine Dion. And she applied all of her folk tactics to all of these fucking hits. I Need a Doctor? Get the fuck out of here. Like roots that you would never be like, the roots of that song are in folk.
Yes.
Fuck you. It is.
Yeah. And what even is, they're all just labels. At the end of the day, like, what is Steve Lacy now?
Oh, he's amazing.
He
actually breaks people's cell phones. You see that video? It was crazy. It's baller. That's fucking rockstar.
I also saw one where he like sped up the song as he was singing it. Like he was a TikTok and it was so, he was like, I wish I knew you wanted me. I wish I. It was so funny. And then just walked off the stage. It's like, where'd you go?
Well, Can We Pretend? You have the piano version and the guitar version. Yep. And some people in the comment section may say they like that version better.
Oh, well, wait till they hear the cello version. I'll give you something.
What?
Okay.
Whoa!
There's a cello version. There's a guitar version. When I first made the song, it was a guitar ballad, and I was adding strings on it, and it was like this beautiful thing. And I was like, why not just show people just want more today, but I also want to give them something special enough to not just like throw out a song that doesn't feel up to par for me. And a great way of doing that, in my opinion, was like, I'm going to produce out all these other versions of how I heard the song that feels that special. So the cello version, have you guys heard Part of the Band, 1975?
That album's fantastic.
I referenced the hell out of that song on that one because it blew the way Jack Antonoff did the cello on that. Like, I've been playing cello my whole life. I've never heard cello played like that. So I incorporated that in this cello version, and it's like bouncy and fun.
It's funny you're mentioning songs that don't hit at first, because when that song came out, I was like, I don't know if I love this song, but now it's one of my favorite songs on the album.
Yes, and his lyrics are so funny, man. They're so good. That's a good song. But yeah, I have that guitar version. I have this like full live acoustic, like where it's kind of a culmination of all of them. It's gonna come out, so then you'll get like the full like. Oh wow! It'll be like you'll think a band is playing it, but it's just me, like no pun intended, like a one-man band. But it'll be really sick. And then I'm gonna do it all live. I've been messing around. You know, like Ed Sheeran has that loop pedal.
Yeah.
I've since I was 15 been obsessed with the loop pedal, and I've never been able to showcase that in the band. Obviously, it didn't really make sense for what we were doing, but the silver lining in that is in all that time I've really like perfected kind of a cracked out version of it, where this is where nerdy me comes in. I got all my instruments like in a circle hooked up to the looper.
You got to do it yourself.
So instead of playing with just the guitar, like I'll like hit a bass line, loop it, go to the drums.
Amazing.
And so I do it for Can We Pretend, and it's gonna be pretty cool.
Also,
I want to do that for my show too.
Yes.
I think people are gonna.
It'll be the most margin friendly touring. You'll be rich.
Oh, thank you.
You'll get a better security system.
Hopefully, yeah. Okay. You know, given the last 2 years.
I'm joking.
I could use that.
No, real talk, because you eliminate like backline. You don't need a band.
Oh yeah, that was a genius of Ed. He played the guitar.
Yeah, dude, he has fucking TVs, motherfucker. Ed knows.
It's crazy,
like, dude. We see you. You tour with TVs.
Yeah, it's not all about money, but if it was,
you're doing
it
right.
on you, mate.
Are you gonna bring a full band, or are you just gonna loop the whole show?
I want a drummer.
Okay,
it's like all I ask.
That's okay. We can afford that.
All I ask, is a drummer. We can afford a drummer.
compared to the way compared to the way y'all used to travel. Holy shit.
Yeah. Screen. Yeah.
Yeah, screen. 77 people, 2 buses, a truck, the whole thing. You got to listen to Daniel Seavey's music on Amazon Music. We're going to put a link in the description below. Highly recommend you streaming these 2 versions of the records that we have so far, but we're going to get more. Definitely going to get more.
Oh yeah. And like new music, which.
So, are you trying to tell a story collectively with the songs as a whole, or are you just really focused on telling individual stories within each song?
I think they do tell a story.
A large one. When you look at all the songs collectively.
Yeah, I think I'm writing about my life, and people haven't really. You learn about me through these interviews, in the whole time of the band. But personal lyrics were something that are hard to get across when you're in a band, and those. I was just writing whatever, not even knowing it was going to end up in my music, and so now there's so much about me I'm going to share. It's going to be so fun.
So if you want to get to know Daniel Seavey, you listen to his music right now, okay?
Yeah.
Do it.
Okay.
We're going to put a link in the description below. It's all going to be available on Amazon Music. Final thoughts over there, Daniel?
I think we have covered a ton here today.
Wait, which one? Okay.
Did we miss anything?
No, dude, you guys are the best.
We covered a lot here.
Yeah, we did.
I cried a little bit.
I did too.
Yeah.
So fun.
Wow.
I'll probably. What are y'all doing tonight? It's Halloween, right? Yeah. Oh, it's Halloween right now.
It is Halloween right now.
I think it's appropriate to have a therapy circle, a sharing circle.
Fair. Love that.
Are you gonna actually go out tonight? Are you gonna party? You have good Halloween costumes.
Thank you.
It's really lucky when you're as beautiful as you are.
I love you.
No, it's really fucking like if I looked like you, of course I'd take my shirt off and be Peter Pan.
You know what's
wrap
funny?
myself in a few pieces of ivy.
I was out like a week prior, and someone said you look like Peter Pan, and I was like sold. So that thank you.
I mean, like you did it. I mean, you again, like I wore a Pac-Man outfit because I wanted to look thinner.
I need to see that. That's so funny.
I look phenomenal.
Oh, I
don't
bet.
Brag,
my gosh.
And also, like it was a costume used in a movie, an Adam Sandler movie, Hoobie Halloween. It's there. It is on camera. It makes it there.
That's redonkulous. We should trade. I'll be that tonight.
Nobody wants to see
I
me.
snapped the leotard. Actually, shoot.
Did you? I honestly, I don't think like me getting in your ivy would be shoving 10 pounds of dog shit in a 1 pound bag.
Stop!
It would be horrendous. All involved.
You're funny.
They would vomit. They would head to Neverland.
Guys, we all know this isn't true.
No, it is
gorgeous.
I hide my body with oversized cardigans. Everybody, Daniel Seavey, listen to his music. His Halloween costumes are great, but his being and his art is so much better.
I love you.
I love you too. Thank you so much for coming here and sharing your story.
Thank you for having me.
You know, forever and always. And this was a nice one-on-one.
It was. Crazy.
Our first one-on-one ever.
So intimate. Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, Daniel Seavey, everybody.
Sweet. Thank you. I need a hug.